Hello, friends. It's Sunday night, and normally that would be Dungeons and Dragons with my home DM. But, like happens a fair amount between conferences and kids stuff and just semester stuff, we have a free night. For the last little while, I've been using that group to kind of say, hey, we could play something else, which has a fairly low yield rate for any number of reasons. But tonight is a little bit different. Over the last several months, especially during the festive season when end of semester parties were happening, I had a lot of conversations with new folks that I was meeting because of all the presentations and talks and events and things like that we've been having around games all over campus. And so every single person that I had a conversation with during that process, I made a note. And then I sent an email to all of them, all at once. And tonight, at least some of them are coming to my house in maybe 90 minutes. And I have prepared nothing. That's a lie. There's snacks prepared. But in terms of games, I've selected the game, but I haven't done any preparation to run it other than a quick glance the way you would with a board game. And here's why. One, I don't know how many people are going to show up. Many of these people have never played a role-playing game before, although some of them are pretty expert. And the purpose of tonight is just to do a vibe check. Who plays in similar kinds of ways? Who seems to like each other? And at the end of the night, when I show off this room full of games, what are they going to gravitate to? Can't possibly know in advance. But what we can do is get the ball rolling with any number of GMless games. Games that don't require onboarding, that don't require a character sheet. You know them, and you may have weird relationships to them. Really hardened D20 crunchy players can sometimes have a little bit of difficulty transitioning from those games to lighter weight games. They'll say, I'm not an improviser, I'm not a storyteller, but you can get people on board fairly quickly with a couple of games. So just like with the first day of class, I've got a copy of For the Queen handy. We run a few short rounds with a smaller deck, and we get people kind of warmed up. That's one thing that we've got, especially if, as many gatherings are, we get a trickle in of folks. But the main event, and what people have been told about in advance, is Jason Morningstar's Ghost Court, which is a super short LARP. It runs a session of small claims court with the dead and the very living, and each case takes about 7 minutes. You can play it indefinitely, so we can call it off at any time, or we can keep it going. My best friend just told me he's going to be a half an hour later than everyone else. Not a problem. I am the world's biggest control freak. No, that's not even true in TTRPGs, but I'm up there. But this allows me a framework where I can be loose and not have a whole lot of expectations while I'm getting to know people who are excited in some way, shape, or form about games. So that's what we're going to do tonight. But what I've also got to show them, and what I've been talking to them at parties and in conversations, is other games that don't require a lot of prep on my part, if any. There's this teeny tiny Juben Shah that just came out, All Falls Down Sorroborough. And I've got other Juben Shahs that I have yet to play, like Laboratory of Death. And so we can, if we've got a good 4 hours, we're good to go to play this. The only limit is I've got to be very careful to make sure that I've got a group of people that I know are going to come and be committed. But if I need to be a little bit more flexible, I've got things like, I'm sorry, did you say street magic? Border writing, which you might have recalled from my video of things I showed to my students. These are all academics. Many of them are historians. They are going to lose their minds over this map drawing game. Similarly, again, the things that I showed to my students on the first day, like beak, feather, and bone, and the details of our escape, also lend themselves to this. But really, the showstopper for tonight, to show folks the possibility space, is of course Fall of Magic and City of Winter. These are incredibly beautiful objects, and we only have to play it once, or we can keep a campaign going. Again, we don't have to have a specific number of players, and we don't have to have a huge number of players to get any of these off the ground. We can just say we want to do it. These are low barriers to entry that feel closer to board games for folks who are more familiar with that I think can bring people over the hurdle. But this is the kind of, not even a campaign diary, but the diary that I'm keeping of the ways in which I'm hoping to recruit more people into the hobby outside of my classes and have fun with my friends. And not just the friends that I can play one particular kind of game with, but to find the games that can meet different groups of my friends where they are. I started doing this last year with my family and some other friends, and now I'm bringing this right into my house. So wish me luck. And if you have recommendations for other games that you think would really work well for this kind of onboarding, I would love to hear about them. Also, I'm a book historian. If there's a beautiful object in this world that you don't see behind me on the shelves, please do let me know about it. And I'll report back later today.